Welcome back, video creeps. It's time for another review, and since we've just been on a roll with this whole Freddy thing, and enough of you have fucking asked me about it, today we're gonna go over A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. So let's not waste any time. Embarking on a new phase in the Nightmare on Elm Street saga, this movie opens up with a quote from Mr. Edgar Allan Poe. "Sleep, those little slices of death, how I loathe them." Man, what a fucking weird way to open up a movie. That shit's just eerie as fuck. Like if I was on a subway or something and I nodded off for a second, and then I fucking woke up to someone staring at me and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and he was like, "Sleep, those little slices of death," I would be shooketh. And from that, we get a montage of somebody building something. It's a trope that I never personally get tired of. I love that eerie music playing with the close-ups of glue and sticks and shit. Maybe I'm easy, I don't know, but that shit, I fucking don't like it. I feel like a little kid every time I see it. Cause in my head, I'm always like, "Hey, what you making?" We see the person that's building this thing is Miss Patricia Arquette, just being a crafty little bitch. But her project is interrupted by Mom, who just came home from a hot date and is pretty pissed off that her daughter's awake because she doesn't want her daughter to hear her just slamming that sausage. So she tells her to get to bed, bad Spanish and all.
Andale.
And shock and amazement, we get a shot of what Patricia Arquette was working on, and it was none other than the notorious Elm Street house. And it looks pretty fucking good. Like she has a future somewhere. Can you go professional mache? Apparently there's professional criers that go to fucking theaters and shit. They get paid to cry. Why not get paid to lay that paste? Now she goes to lay down where she immediately falls asleep. And she is greeted in the dream world by more Elm Street children. Up to this point, we've only ever gotten the 3 little girls, even though we know that Freddy killed something like 12 kids. But in this scene, you see like a fucking ton of kids. And it got me wondering, how come we never got their story? I would love to see the It movie starring Freddy Krueger. We only ever see him kill teenagers. But why not see Freddy go after a group of kids that are more innocent, that don't know how to protect themselves? If anything, I think that's how we should ultimately kill Freddy Krueger. I think those same ghost kids should get together and figure out a way to actually kill him within the dream world. Because like right now, what are they? Just like his slaves or something? Why are they hanging out with Freddy Krueger? I would think they didn't like him. Seriously, can we give these fucking kids a movie? But Patricia keeps on going. She meets a little girl with a laugh for a name.
What's your name?
Kirsten, what's yours?
But the little girl turns around, dips out, and goes into the house. So Patricia Arquette goes into the house as well. Which, I'm sorry, like after the 3rd dream or so, why are you still going into the house? Go up to the next street. Go to a different house. You get whatever's coming to you if you keep on doing the same shit.
You're a donut. You're so stupid. You're so stupid. You're stupid. Dumb.
But she finds the little girl, and knowing that impending doom is around the corner, she swoops her up like Superman and fucking takes off. And this is where we see our first shot of Freddy Krueger. Patricia Arquette takes a look down at the little girl in her arms, and we see that the little girl is actually just dead. She's just bones in her fucking arms. And this realization is enough to wake up Patricia Arquette. Or is it? because Freddy is back to his old tricks, and as a result, makes it look like Patricia Arquette slit her fucking wrist. So naturally, we send her to a psychiatric ward, and the main area of this film is set. We're gonna be here for like a lot of this movie. Hey look, it's Lawrence Fishburne.
Fucked up chromosomes, man. Think about it. All their parents dropped acid during the 60s.
Well, it beats Sim's theory. She thinks it's nothing but sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Shit, that's what keeps people alive.
We meet Dr. Gordon, who is the head therapist at this facility, in addition to his higher up, Mrs. Sims, who is truly a terrible person. And we catch a bit of their conversation where they're talking about a brand new sleep therapist who's gonna be coming on.
I am homeless. I am gay. I have AIDS. I'm new in town.
But that conversation is cut short because Patricia Arquette is being inducted into the psych ward and she's making it easy on everybody.
Back off, Max.
Patricia, wielding a tiny scalpel, starts to sing a familiar song. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. We all know it. But before she can finish it off, Nancy Thompson from Nightmare on Elm Street 1 comes through the door and bodies that fucking harmony.
Never sleep again.
A little after this, Neil Gordon is like, yo, what the fuck was that banger? And Nancy tells him, oh, that's just something that we tell the kids to keep the boogeyman away. Bullshit! Really, bitch? That's what you're gonna say? Because anytime I've ever heard that song, Freddy's basically right around the corner, like peeking over. He's watching what's happening. You sing that song when the end is fucking near. Why you lying to that boy? Gordon sees a nun. Lawrence Fishburne gives Nancy a tour of the facility, and we get to meet 2 of the kids that we're gonna get to know in this movie. One of which, who is Philip, a sleepwalker, and a guy who makes marionettes like Toulon from fucking Puppet Master. And we meet Kincaid, who's supposed to be like the tough guy of this movie. I don't know. I grew up New York. I grew up pretty tough. I don't see it. I don't even get how this guy passed as a tough guy for the fucking time. Break out, motherfucker, with your fucking high-ass voice.
I do it so I don't have to look at your ugly face all the time.
Now, Gordon notices a pill bottle in Nancy's possession. This pill bottle is called Hypnosil, and he runs off to Internet 1.0 and learns that this is an experimental dream suppressant. Which just gives my theory more validity that after Nightmare on Elm Street, Nancy battled Freddy more. So much so that she found this solution to like, you know what? I still need sleep, that's non-negotiable, but I don't have to dream, motherfucker.
I remember thinking, I'm about to beat this bitch up.
We see Patricia Arquette and she's nodding off mid-artist. She's drawing that fucking house again. And we start to see that dream world start to creep in again. A tricycle rolls into her room and just fucking melts. Great. But as she runs out of the door to her room, she steps into the Elm Street house where tremors start to fucking attack her. But it's not tremors. It's actually Dick Freddy. And that baby swallows. The irony. And this scene is fucking cool, man. Freddy looks so gross and like wet. I wouldn't want to touch him. But in distress, Patricia calls out to Nancy, and she is able to pull her into her dream. Thanks, bitch. It's not like I don't take pills to avoid dreams. Think I want to hang out in your shitty fucking dream. Cunt. But Nancy sees Freddy and she's like, oh shit. She grabs a shard off the floor and fucking stabs him in the eye. When Freddy gets up and takes a step back and sees Nancy, he's like, you! Ooh, I fucking love that shit in movies. I love when the villain and the person that got away have to face off again. There's something about that bad blood between the two and my already knowing it just fucking charges me up. I'm like a really bad audience member shouting World Star. I eat that shit up. We sit down for one of the many groups that happen in this movie, and we get to meet all the other kids that are in this ward. We meet Will, a teen with a disability who has to use a wheelchair in order to get around. And a lot of people don't know this about me, but for the past 10 years, I've worked with people who have had developmental disabilities and physical disabilities. So anytime that I can see my people represented in something that I love, like a horror movie, I love that shit. But yeah, Will tried to fucking kill himself, so now he's in a wheelchair. We meet Jennifer, who the most interesting thing about her is that she wants to, be an actress. We meet Joey, who is a mute. And we meet the hottest of the hot, Mrs. Tara, who, you know, has a little bit of a problem with the needles. Now, Dr. Sims is under the belief system that the only reason that these kids are sharing this scary dream is because they all have suppressed guilt, and that they're living with this deep-rooted shame inside of themselves. And they won't be able to sleep until they expel that from themselves. A page right out of the Bible.
Shame. 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 Shame.
Gremlins cameo!
Okay.
Now it's bedtime at the psych ward, but the kids have developed a sweet little buddy system where one of them goes to bed and the other one keeps a lookout. Make sure I'm not whimpering. Make sure I'm not fucking up in my sleep, bro. This is an extremely smart escalation from what we saw in the first film. And even in the second film, they played around with this idea. But in this movie, because it's a psych ward, it seems real fleshed out. Now, while this is happening, Nancy and Dr. Gordon are having a philosophical conversation about prescribing the kids Hypnocell. But Gordon says nuts to that, I'm not putting my job on the line. And that segues into one of the coolest scenes in this entire franchise for me personally. Freddy takes on the shape of one of Philip's puppet master dolls and slits his fucking arms up, and Marionette like pulls him across the fucking psych ward. And like, fuck, it's just badass. I love that scene so much. But it also hurts quite a bit because it's one of those things that just could have been avoided, but wasn't. Kincaid woke up and saw him. The nurse missed him, like by a fucking second. But what's worst about that is that all of the kids actually watch Philip kill himself. And that just fucking hurts. That makes my heart so heavy. I know they're actors, but I get immersed in this shit. The next day at group, all of the therapists talk about suicide pretty lightly. They're not delicate with their words or anything.
Philip killed himself. Now that's a cowardly thing. That's an empty thing. He let himself down. He let all of us down.
It was murder. Can't you understand that? That bastard murdered him.
It really goes to show how much has changed between when this movie was made and now, because our dialogue about suicide is very different now. But Gordon pulls a power move and he's like, yo, fuck these kids that are dying. You're all going on Hypnocell. Now Jennifer, staying up late, decides that she's gonna watch a little bit of TV because Philip's death is on the mind. But there's no amount of cigarette burns that can keep her awake enough to stop Freddy Krueger from grabbing her and shoving her into a fucking TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch. Which is a line that was entirely improvised by our boy Robert Englund. Now earlier in the movie, Gordon sees a quick shot of a nun in the distance and doesn't think anything about it. But at Jennifer's funeral, he sees this nun again and he's like, yo bitch, what's up? And this time she's feeling a little bit chatty. but as Nancy comes over to see Gordon, Ghost Bitch disappears. Now Nancy and Gordon take the kids and give them a little straight talk, and they tell them all about Freddy Krueger and what he has been doing for like 2 decades now. Nancy outs Kristen about her fucking being able to pull people into her dream shit, and she tells them that they all have dream powers.
If you're watching this, it means you're special. Like, really special. Special as fuck. I mean, if like a murderer came up to me and said, I'm gonna shoot the person that's tagged in this, I would say no. I would prevent him from doing that. That's just like how much love I have for you. That's how special I think you are.
Dr. Gordon hypnotizes the group, but seemingly it doesn't work. So Joey is like, well, fuck this, I'm Splitsville. And he goes to flirt with his fucking hot nurse.
I know this sounds crazy, but I make up excuses to come into the ward every day just to see you. You're so cute.
Oh, she lusty. But just then, it is revealed that they actually are dreaming. Hypnotism does work. And we figure out what the kids' dream powers are. Will can stand up out of his wheelchair, and he's a fucking wizard. Patricia is dope at gymnastics. Kincaid is super strong. And Tara is, she's hotter.
And bad.
Joey gets ready to lose his virginity to a dope pair of tits.
Do you like my body, Joey?
My rating for those tits are, I'm gonna come. But the nurse is a little heavy on the tongue while making out with Joey. And it's revealed that it's actually Freddy Krueger fucking with the guy hard. So I guess Freddy Krueger's bisexual. That's why he has 2 colors on his sweater. Now in the documentary Never Sleep Again, they actually talk about how they filmed a whole scene where that woman with the big tits had prosthetics that looked just like Freddy Krueger on, but they said that it looked weird having Freddy Krueger's face on a woman's body, so they cut it out of the film. But I would love to see that. I really wish they kept that in. Joey finds himself in this situation. And before Freddy can actually kill Joey, the Dream Warriors bust in and save him just in the nick of time. But not soon enough to stop Freddy from taking Joey down into his dream world. Gordon gets yelled at for conducting an unauthorized group and hypnotizing a bunch of kids. You know, saying it sounds worse than what it really was. But before he can say anything or rebuttal to try and save his own job, he sees the nun again. So he follows her and she tells him the story of a girl who got trapped inside a shut down part of the psych ward where they kept the most of criminally insane. And they all raped this girl and she became pregnant, giving birth to the bastard son of 100 maniacs. Sorry guys, that's not how sperm works. She tells Gordon that the only way to break the curse of Freddy Krueger is if she is able to find the bones and bury it in hollow ground. So Gordon's like, bitch, I got 1,000 questions, chill. But she's like, peace. So Gordon is all alone. Meanwhile, Joey is in a coma back in the real world, while the real Joey is with Freddy in the dream world. And at his bedside, this happens.
Let go of him, you bastard. Oh my God.
I don't know about you, but if I was Nancy, I would dip right the fuck out, because that is a hard thing to explain. Gordon tells Nancy the plan, and Nancy tells him there's only one person who knows where Freddy Krueger's bones are buried, and that's my daddy. So they go and find him drunk as piss in a bar, and they tell him what's going on. But he's like, bitch, you guys are fucking retarded, stop. But just then they get a call from the kids at the psych ward. Kristen is being put into the quiet room and they are sedating her. So Nancy heads back to the psych ward. Meanwhile, the father gets sized up by Gordon. And he basically like kidnaps him to go on like a fucking treasure hunt for Freddy Krueger's bones. Everyone likes a scavenger hunt. But before they embark on that journey, they stop off at a church where Gordon is able to get a flask full of holy water. And by get, I mean steal, which is absolutely an oxymoron when you talk about stealing holy water. Nancy gets around and she puts the remaining kids under hypnosis, and they are able to go to Kristen.
Nancy, I knew you'd come. You don't think we let you go in alone, do you?
No way, we're a team. Yeah.
Listen, everybody. Joey needs us. I can feel him.
And together, the Dream Warriors united go off to save Joey. But as they all enter the dream world, they are separated and all have to fight Freddy in their own ways. Patricia has to fight Freddy using her mom's like severed head. It's a weird scene, but it's cool.
God damn it, Kristen, you ruin everything. Every time I bring a man home, you spoil it. You know what your shrink says? You're just trying to get a little attention.
Freddy uses Tara's former drug addiction to get her on the hook. And unfortunately, she does not make it out of this. We lose Tara. Rest in peace, baby. And Will goes full wizard when he has to fight Freddy Krueger, who tries to like size him up and intimidate him by making an evil wheelchair attack Will. But fucking Will uses his fucking mind power, explodes that motherfucker. He don't give a fuck. But unfortunately, Freddy is able to best him and murders Will. Nancy, Kincaid, and Patricia all link up together and go through a door that leads them right into the belly of the beast. Meanwhile, Gordon and Daddy have found the bones and start the process of burying Freddy Krueger. While Nancy and the Dream Warriors that are left run into this extremely kinky scenario. The gang fights Freddy, giving them just enough time for Gordon and Dad to bury the bones. And Freddy disappears, only to come back as a skeleton to fight Gordon and the dad, in a scene that honestly could have broken this movie. It's so weird and silly, but it fucking plays. Even now in 2020. This movie's fucking old, but it's still fucking fantastic. I don't feel cringe or anything. I love this little skeleton fight thing. It's great. Skeleton Freddy slaps them around and unfortunately kills Nancy's father. Freddy returns back to the dream world where they have officially had the time to rescue Joey, and they find themselves in a room full of mirrors with Freddy everywhere terrorizing them. But Joey opens up his mouth, no longer a mute, and shatters the glass, learning that his dream power is the ability to speak. Now, while Freddy is distracted in the dream world, fighting off everybody and unfortunately killing Nancy Thompson in the process, it just happens sometimes the person who lives in the first one dies right when they come back. But while Freddy is doing this, Gordon throws the holy water on the bones and fully buries Freddy Krueger, finally ending this story for now.
Dust to dust. May the spirits rest.
credits roll, and a rockin' good time is spread all over us like butter as fucking Dream Warriors plays for the first time in this film. God, I fucking love that song so much. Like, I hold it in high regard, like fucking Highway to Hell or fucking Crazy Train or some shit. Like, it's there. Guys, everything about Dream Warriors is bigger and better. The film is more entertaining. The characters are more interesting. The kills are more innovative. Patricia Arquette is awesome as the lead. So are the supporting cast in this. Nancy Thompson coming back and tying up loose ends is fucking awesome. If I had to say something somewhat not okay about this movie, I can still defend it. I would say that Freddy is barely in this movie, but it's still fun to see him as a peripheral evil. And these characters are engaging enough, and what they're going through is engaging enough where you don't need to oversaturate me with Freddy Krueger, which is insane, because by a third film, we're coming for Freddy. This is who we want to see. But the movie's so good that it just stands on its own. This is everything done right about a mainstream horror film done in the 80s. And for all those reasons, my ranking for this movie is dope as fuck. Have my baby. This movie 100% belongs in your collection. And if you already own it, pop it on because it never gets stale. This movie has earned its place in horror history, and I will continue to love this movie until Freddy comes and fucking slashes me down. Now, I just want to take a quick time out before I end this video to give a shout out to all the people who are continuously supporting me. From my mutant fan brothers, all the way to just you guys down in the comments. And if you're looking for more horror content, I'm gonna link all these guys' channels right down in my description. So please head over. From me to you guys, I'm telling you, these people are fucking awesome. And they're really, really good people doing really interesting stuff in the horror community. And I'm talking about like Survivor's Guild, Channel of the Living Dead, 3B Video, Geek Daze, Evil Tracers, Evilstevel, Derek's Horror Corner, JC Madman, The Horror Cave, Ditlev, fucking Mrs. Valo 01, and a very special shout out to Royce Bunn, who actually reached out to me on my last video and donated to my channel. And as a result, I'm gonna be able to get more things like a better microphone, better lighting. So an extremely special thanks to you. And I would be completely remiss if I didn't give a quick shout out to my brother Brad over on Aimless Deathscussion. You guys are all fucking badass, and I really appreciate all of you guys coming in and just leaving your comments. I feel like I'm a broken record at this point, but I really fucking love that. I feel like we have extra fun when we're a community, and the fact that that's building and getting fleshed out right now, my heart. Now that's gonna be it for this video. If you're not one of those people who are already coming back all the time, make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that way you know when my next video is up. That's gonna be it for this one. Peace, video creeps.